Tomato, and I'm going to be coming to you all with another indie game review. This one's kind of special. I've been getting a lot of people asking me, and recently a lot of messages too, like this one from DHG APOC, that I should review or do an indie game review on Castleminer Z. And I actually have had this game in my library for a very long time of indie games, and it's not really loading a little thumbnail there, but Castleminer Z is one of many Castleminer, or not really many, but a good amount of Castleminer games, like Castleminer the original here, Castleminer Warfare that recently came out, which is more of a PvP style, and Castleminer Z, which is like the original zombie survival block version of the game. So I'll gladly do a review on this because it's also one of my favorite indie games that's out on the market now too. So this is going to be sort of like Total Miner and Minecraft, but it's got its own character, just like Total Miner's separate and Minecraft is separate. This one's going to have its own kind of aspect to it that's going to make it different from all the others. One thing that never gets really old for me is this pretty nice music here. Retro music from something that always sounds familiar and I always forget what it's from, and it'll probably come to me right afterward. But anyway, so we're gonna load up our player info here. This game, I'm pretty sure, see, every time I start doing this, I think it's got, I'm gonna go safe, I'm gonna go smaller, I'm gonna say 12 people in online one game. It probably can do more, but again, that's for lack of better information, and I don't want to lie. So if I say 18, I don't want you to come in thinking it's 18 and it's really 16. So if I say 12 and it's 16, then you'll just be happy you can have more people. So we're actually going to play offline because I don't want to deal with people for the review. But we're going to survival. I guess we can do survival. I'm just going to, I guess, start a new world, but this is not going to be like in depth or anything. This is just going to be what I think of the game and stuff like that. So I have played this game for quite a while, and I still really haven't had too much time to or what I don't know what I'm saying. I've played it a long time, but at the same time I don't think that there's really much wrong with the game. If you're looking for a game that's like a classic sandbox that still has that epic adventure style to it, but at the same time has a more survival kind of aspect at the same time, all of that sort of meshed together in this mosh pit of a game. And that's not to say that's a bad game or anything, but it's a quality indie game that has been around for almost as long as the original Castleminer, and it has some nice mobs in it, very difficult mobs that are very challenging. There's practically no mobs in the game that don't take away like half your hearts with one hit, so but your weapons do a good bit against them, and that's to say you have to work a while, get a lot of iron and stuff. But I'm going to show you all a brief crafting menu thing here, but this is what you start out with in the game at the very beginning. In your hotbar, and you choose your bumpers to scroll through your hotbar menu, and you hold. It looks like your hold door and stuff like this in your hand, but you can't necessarily. Like I'm holding bullets, I can't throw bullets. I'd still punch with my right hand no matter what I do. But you build with the left trigger, and you can also aim with the left trigger. RT shoots or mines, and as you can tell, spoiler alert, this game does have guns. Which does separate it, like I said earlier, from a lot of other games, and this is that factor that makes it a lot different. It has, not exactly sure how many guns it has, but it is a lot, and I guess I probably should have gone into creative to show you all the guns, but there's a AK-47 rifle, a pistol, knife. The knife is basically a high damage, just like in Call of Duty, but at the same time, it's a high damage knife like most PvP games, but at the same time, you have to get really close to hit things, and it's not, I don't advise using it unless something is stuck up against a wall. They got AK-47, which is the assault rifle, it's the hardest one to get, and they have a rifle, which is a bolt action, but it kind of shoots semi-automatic. It does a lot of damage. And then there's let's shoot, Uzi, which is like a mini SMG or something like that. I think they call it an SMG or an Uzi or something like that. It shoots really fast, but at the same time it has pretty high damage, but you run out of ammo pretty quickly. Um, and what's different about all, and I think they just added laser guns and a dragon-guided rocket missile launcher that you can make with explosive rounds and stuff like that. Because there's actually dragons in the game that'll spawn too when you go into Dragon Endurance, and even in Survival you'll eventually get dragons, and they're like the boss of the boss, really hard to kill. So this is Survival is actually really quite self-explanatory. If you've ever played a sandbox before, you destroy blocks, you get the mini block, you take the mini block, and it goes into your inventory. Stacks stop at 64, just like in Minecraft, and I think that's about all the basics. But you need bullets to be able to use guns, but also in addition to having all the guns, they have just like Minecraft levels up between wooden, iron, and stone, and all these different kinds of pickaxes. This game does the exact same, except it goes wood, stone, iron, or actually there's copper before iron, which is this stuff right, well, it's green, it's that teal, this stuff, copper ore. And to make ore, there's a lot of different ways you can craft things, but once you get a craft shop, which I'm too lazy to do, and it's about to be nighttime, so I'm probably gonna die, but just to give you a show with the mobs, but once you get the crafting table, you can make iron bars with 1 coal and 2 ore, or you can make it with smelting in a furnace or something like that, I think, too. I think there's 2 different ways. Or using charcoal or wood or something like that and burning it. But there's multiple ways to do it, and the way that I most prefer is to just get coal, because you can get it on the run. But there's also multiple game types to it, too. Survival is about surviving. Essentially, the core basics of survival, just not dying. But there's no food in the game, so survival isn't too difficult. It's necessarily just staying alive and collecting resources and building legitimately off the resources of the game and not dying and surviving the nights, because a lot of mobs come out during the night, and they kind of spawn up from under the ground, and they're really difficult mobs, and you're going to see them shortly as I die from them. And but there are also different kinds of the game, like endurance and things like that. And if you look in the top right of my screen, it says distance and max. Well, distance is all about this tower right here, which is called the start. It's labeled the start. And see, the closer I get to it, my distance goes down until I'm touching it, and the center of it is actually 0. But if I go further away, diagonal is the quickest way because you're going 2 blocks per step. If you go this way, see, I'm going 1 at a time, but if I go this way, I'm going like 2 at a time, so it's a little faster. And I'm about to die here, it's nighttime, but in endurance mode, you actually run further and further away from the start. The goal is to get as far from the start as possible. And the farther you get from the start, the mobs spawn more frequently, and they're a lot more powerful. And like I said earlier, they've recently added alien weapons, and as you keep on going around the map, in every seed, there spawns randomly like alien craters in the ground, which I think they're supposed to resemble spaceships and stuff. And those spaceships have aliens in them, which are virtually near impossible to kill unless you're heavily armed. And again, there are only those 4 or 5 different core weapons, but at the same time, you can level up your weapons just as you can level up your tools. Weapons they start at iron, which would just be normal, and then they have gold, and then they have diamond, and then they have bloodstone, I'm pretty sure is the order it goes in. And bloodstone is like the best. It's actually the ground block of hell, or sort of like netherrack in Minecraft. It's basically that block, but instead of being really easy to kill dirt-like blocks, they're rock-like blocks that are very, very, very hard to destroy unless you have a diamond pick. And even then, it takes about 20 or so hits to be able to get through that block. So it's incredibly hard, and then once you get that, it takes 10 bloodstone blocks, and then 2 sticks, and you can make yourself a bloodstone pick. Bloodstone picks, literally, 1 tap like that, literally instantly destroys rocks, like normal rock. So bloodstone picks are really come in handy, and that's very fun. That's kind of one of the major goals of the game, I guess, is to get bloodstone tools and stuff, just like it is in Minecraft to get diamond supplies. But, so that's the essentials of the survival, and I guess we can exit out of this, and I'm going to head over to endurance mode. And endurance, or actually I'm going to do creative, my bad. And creative just basically is what it says. And creative mode lets you have unlimited blocks, just like in any other game. So I guess I'll just join this last part I was doing then. I don't really mind, but when you play in creative in this, just like in Minecraft, you're punished with not being able to get achievements. If you go into a game, that you've already created in creative mode, like I just did, I put it on no enemies, but at the same time, which is like peaceful. But you can play creative and have enemies, but when you have creative, it's a little bit different than Minecraft. You get one block, and yes, it's infinite, but you still have to obtain all your items. There's no like creative screen where you can like create everything you want. You still technically have to go get your supplies. But as you can see here, see how I have 2 rock from earlier when I was playing? Well, let's swap that out with a knife, and LT is what you use to place blocks. And notice how when I start placing these blocks, it's not depleting. It can get really confusing this way. If you're not getting what I'm trying to say poorly, when you still have to like collect all your ores and stuff. And see, I've got 2 iron ore and 1 coal, which makes 1 iron bar. Well, because 2 ore and 1 coal makes 1 bar. So if I go to craft and I go to iron bar, I can make this iron bar, yeah. But see, it didn't deplete my iron ore resources like it normally would. So I can sit here and spam this, make a bunch of these, and then, say I get 2 of the iron bars, I'm able to make iron walls. Now I can make unlimited iron walls without having to use the iron bars. So this version, at least this way that creative works, is a little complicated, and it's hard to get the hang of. But once you do, it really, it makes it not entirely simplistic or unworthy or unholy of trying to play, you know, because it's not very wholesome gameplay if you're just sort of going onto a menu and dropping in items. So you can actually have fun, get some supplies, and then be able to survive with unlimited supplies out of the supplies you technically still got from the map. So see, I got 1 log, and now I can make the log into unlimited amounts of wood, and I use those unlimited amounts of wood to make a limited amount of crates, and a limited amount of light machine guns, submachine guns, rifles. There's your weapons, assault rifle, all these different things, and you can make all the different kinds of weapons with just wood and iron. And see, as you go down, it goes gold, and then you get to copper, iron, gold, and then you get to laser, which is a diamond, and 2 of the space goo, which you find in those space craters, and some iron, and you can make different colored ones of those without using other supplies. So that's really fun. And once you get going and the game gets really into it, you can also build giant things, obviously, with creative mode. So it's still a sandbox game at its heart, but it has a different aspect to it because it has guns. So you can legitimately try to build a bunker and survive, and it's a classic zombie survival, unlike Minecraft with its swords and armor. The game does not have armor, but it does give you weapons, like ranged actual firearms, so you're able to play it a little bit differently than you would other games. So that's how creative works, and it can get really confusing because if I say I get 4 or 5 of these ore, and mentally I forget that I'm playing on creative, then earlier when I was spamming the iron, see now I have 14 iron bars. Well, those 14 iron bars I have no use for, pretty much. So basically you have to get enough iron bars to make the best thing, and then you can make everything. But see, now I've got, I think the most you can use for 1 item is 5, and that's for the assault rifle, and that's 5 iron bars. Well, I have 14, so now I have, technically speaking, I have 9 iron bars that aren't going to be able to be used for anything ever again, and they're never going to go away. So it's really kind of, it can get annoying when you make a lot of stuff excessively and you don't need it, but it does give you infinite amount of resources. But I will say, for the record, this is the most important part about creative. You cannot access this normally with the game. The game does not come with the creative mode installed. You have to get it through a bonus code, I think it's called, or like a promo code, they call it. And I'll show you that as we're going back to the main menu here. And the promo code has to be accessed through your original Castleminer game. And see there, it says purchase Avatar Warfare for a special unlock code. Well, if you purchase Avatar Warfare, which is another game, another indie game, there's a promo code on the title screen that gives you a promo code for this game, which will give you a special unlock. But that's the promo game for this game. But this game also gives you a promo code for a different game, and another promo game gives you promo code from a different game gives you something for this game. So it's like a promo code twist or something. But once you go, if you go get Castleminer, the original Castleminer, at least that's the way it used to work. Maybe you have to get Avatar Warfare now, but when I did it, I got Castleminer, normal Castleminer, and it had a promo code right about there where it says for a special unlock code, and it gave me a number and letter code for creative mode. So that was definitely nice, and that gave me creative mode so I could build bigger things. But initially, when I got the game, I was a little disappointed that they didn't have creative mode like already installed. You have to go spend another $1 or two to get the actual. You have to spend some more money to get the creative mode installed in the game. So that didn't make me very happy. But overall, I enjoyed the game a lot when I first started playing it. It took me a while to get into the hang of it and figure stuff out. So. But I mean, even if you pick up that's not to say when you pick up the game it's impossible to learn yourself. It's still a very self-taught, easily understandable game, and it's great for any people that love sandbox games like Minecraft, especially on console, because there's no mods. You can't really get weapons on those games. Well, Castleminer's done a great job of adding weapons to their games, and it's continued to really be one of the most popular games in the indie game market, and it was made a pretty long time ago. I know at least a year and a half ago. So it's definitely an older game, but obviously it's stood the test of time, and it is still one of the best games to get so far as PvP sandboxes go. And it's got a lot of different games. Once you beat endurance mode and you kill the the Bloodstone Dragon at the very end, about 3,000 away from the start, you can actually get a lot of ore out there, and you can unlock another mode called Dragon Endurance where you just survive dragons as you go. It gets a lot harder. So there's just a lot of really endless hours of gameplay, and so many different people you can play on with one match online with. So it's definitely worth giving a try. There's a lot of blocks and a lot of different things you can do in the game other than just building. So it's definitely a game I recommend buying and keeping. And obviously I haven't gotten rid of it, and it's definitely worth I think it's $1 now. So honestly, I really think it's worth the buy. So that was my indie game review of Castleminer Z. If you liked the review or the gameplay or anything, which you probably didn't like the gameplay because all I did was stand, but if you did like the gameplay, please give it a like. A comment is always nice. I love reading those comments, and I definitely reply when I can. And definitely send me a message or something if you ever want to play. And yeah, so that was my indie game review on Castleminer Z. Thanks for watching, guys. Please comment, rate, subscribe. Thanks for watching.